Hi, welcome to the Space Space. You're watching KXAN Plus, and this is your launch pad for all things cosmic. I'm your host, Esmeralda Zamora, and here with us is our space expert and our KXAN Plus astronaut, Eric Henrikson.
That's the dream.
Today we're exploring all things Artemis II. We've been following Artemis II's launch since the very, very early stages.
Since before everybody else was interested, I'll tell you that much.
We will tell you that
Everyone
much.
got all excited last week, and you and I were like, we've been talking about this for months on
We've
end.
been waiting for this
We've
for
been
months
literally
on.
waiting for this, but now we're here. We're
Yes.
excited. It's happened. Did you watch the flyby yesterday?
I did, and I watched the rocket launch. Don't tell anybody, but I was watching it live on my way home. It was in my cup holder.
You can't say don't tell anybody and then say it on a broadcast
Well,
in our spaceship.
we're in our spaceship, and what happens in the spaceship stays in the spaceship.
Except for all the cameras and microphones. I will give you, don't tell anyone I said this. I never do this, but I opened Netflix on my work computer.
What?
Because Netflix was live streaming
Yeah, they
the
were.
event. And actually, I think YouTube might have been too, but I saw an ad that said Netflix was doing it. And of course, I fall for advertising. So I opened Netflix at work and watched it here at work. But while I was writing a script, so it was really hard. I was like doing a story yesterday, completely unrelated story about something super hyper local. And at the same time, like glancing over, going, okay, what's going on now? Are they there? Are they there? Are they there? Okay, they're there. They're there. They did the flyby. It's cool.
They made it.
Yeah, so I had my monitor split between like script, notes from my script, flyby. And so I had it like really set up to embrace the spaciness while also trying to do my normal job on top of everything else.
I mean, you report on space almost every day, so
Except for
it
yesterday.
was like studying.
Yesterday we did not touch space at all. I was talking about a radio tower, which I guess is space related, but it was about imminent domain. So really it's a different type of space. It's about physical space, not outer space.
Physical
Anyway,
space.
I got to do both. So I got to enjoy the flyby as it was happening. The furthest flight humans have ever done.
Yeah.
Pull up. We have the image that shows. We should have a route, but it also shows the distance. Yeah, this one. So this is the route that Artemis II has taken, right? So did a couple swirls around the Earth to build up some speed from gravity. We use it kind of as a gravity launch. It goes whoop out, and then it'll go out around the moon. And then you can see even here how far away from the moon it is.
Yeah.
Furthest humans have ever been.
So
from
we've
the
already
Earth.
done that loop-de-loop around.
Yeah,
the
we're
moon.
like there. We're like kind of like right about there.
Okay.
We
Almost
are.
back.
I read one description. So we land on Friday. So
We come back on Friday?
We land. Yeah, Friday.
Wow, that was a very fast trip.
It is fast. Okay, here's what I was going to show you. If you look at this animation, so that line is where the lunar reconnaissance orbiter was at, 31 miles from the moon. Then you see this outer line on the outside. That's Apollo missions, only 68 miles.
Wow.
Only 68 miles. And then here was Artemis II.
And we are
About
already
5,000 miles past the
halfway
moon.
done with this mission, right?
More than halfway. Yeah, it was 10 days. We are on this happened last Wednesday. So what is this? It becomes this is day 6 or day 7.
So lots of
seven?
firsts, right? Lots of firsts from these astronauts who are on their way back.
Yeah.
They were the first ones to see this side of the moon with the human eye.
Right. I mean, like from this distance. So,
Yeah.
13, and the other moons have orbited, but the first time in 50 years, for sure, and the furthest away.
That's awesome. Let's talk logistics. What has all been happening on the spacecraft since the launch?
They've gone up there. Oh, actually, there was a video of Nutella floating through. I wanted to put on there.
Nutella.
Yeah, there was a video. I saw it today. It made me laugh. I wanted to put it in, but I totally forgot to bring this down. I think a Nutella floated by at one point. It made me laugh.
In the spacecraft.
In the spacecraft. So they got to go up. They were taking a lot of photos. I was watching yesterday as they were taking photos on the far side of the moon where the brightness.
I think we have the photos we can show.
Oh yeah,
some.
pull up the photos. These are some of the new photos. These are brand new. Some of these are from like an hour ago, by the way. They were just uploaded. But some of these photos that were sent to Associated Press through NASA. But yeah, they took all these photos on the far side of the moon. They got the eclipse of the Earth by the moon.
Wow.
What is that eclipse called? If the moon everything's being eclipsed by itself. Is that like I don't know what that would even be
A
called.
half eclipse?
Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
it's almost a lunar eclipse, so it's a planetary eclipse too. But the moon's eclipsing. I don't know what that would be called. Anyway, these new photos. Let's just look at these photos for a minute, 'cause these are really really cool. So they were looking at these photos, and the way they were taking them was they were literally like covering. They were turning the lights off inside the capsule. The Orion spacecraft
yeah.
is called Integrity. Is the name of the ship. So if I go back and forth between the two, Just want to let you know. Orion, Integrity, same thing. And they're all part of the Artemis II mission. So I might interchangeably use all three of those people, so I apologize. Anyway, they were inside. They were like turning all the lights off. They were covering themselves like, they say like a tarp or something is what they said on there, but I think it was like a blanket. Covering himself with a blanket so the reflection from inside Orion wasn't there, and they could, see the craters of the moon. One really, I won't say heartbreaking, but like emotional moment. They were naming craters, and the commander named one of the craters after his late wife who passed away. His name Carol, and he spelled it out. That was like really emotional moment. But they got to see these craters really up close, which is amazing, with human eyes for the first time in 50 years. And with really good cameras. I mean, look at these photos. These are amazing photos.
Amazing pictures.
Really good cameras, modern cameras, as opposed to cameras from the 70s. So you get all the detail. It's so cool. One thing I thought was really interesting was I was watching was it a live stream or something? I don't know. Y'all, I've been watching so much stuff.
We have a live stream going on right now.
We have a live stream. Yeah, pop the live stream up. But I was watching something earlier, and they were talking about, there they are, just doing their thing. That they couldn't actually see stars. There was a kid asked them, "Can you see all the stars?" And they said no.
Why?
Because of the brightness of the Earth from the reflection of the moon.
Too bright.
The sun's light was reflecting off the moon onto the Earth, and it was too bright. So they could see the stars when they were on the other side of the moon, but not when they were in transit between the Earth and the moon.
Wow.
Which is crazy, right?
That's crazy. You would think that going up, you're going to see all the stars, all the planets, but it's probably super dark also.
They said it was just blackness all around them, and the brightness of the planet was making that hard. And apparently they were saying on that interview they were talking about the International Space Station, when it's orbiting, that's also an issue, is that until they're on the night side of the planet, and they have to let their eyes adjust for about 30 minutes, then they can see stars. And then I took a note here, when they were on the far side of the moon, they could see Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Saturn during the flyby.
That's so
on
cool.
The far side, on the dark side of the moon. I was about to start singing that song from Dark Side of the Moon. I'm 90% sure we don't have the rights to that.
No, we do not.
Not 100%.
Don't sing it, please.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to pay for that. They could also see the Apollo 12 and Apollo 14 landing sites.
We actually have some sound from that, right?
Oh, yeah. This is the Commander Jim Lovell, who piloted Apollo 13, who was the previous record holder. He also did an orbit on Apollo 8, and he passed away last year, but he left a message for Artemis II, and let's play that message.
Hello, Artemis II. This is Apollo astronaut Jim Lovell. Welcome to my old neighborhood. When Frank Borman and Bill Andrews and I orbited the moon on Apollo 8, we got humanity's first up-close look at the moon and got a view of the home planet that inspired and united people around the world. I'm proud to pass that torch on to you as you swing around the moon and lay the groundwork for missions to Mars for the benefit of all. It's a historic day, and I know how busy you'll be, but don't forget to enjoy the view. So, Reed and Victor and Christina and Jeremy and all the great teams supporting you, good luck and Godspeed from all of us here on the good earth.
That is such a sweet message. Take it all in.
So
you're at the moon, right?
My grandfather worked for NASA back then.
Wow.
He was in the safety organization. He was actually, my mom sent me an article. We were both watching, being space nerds who come from a space family. Her father, she sent me an article from that time where it was like how they rescued the astronauts, and it's a picture of my grandpa like looking at like the rockets and how they did it and how they pulled them out. It was pretty cool. So yeah, it's like for her it was really emotional. For me it was emotional. Like, hey, we're there. We're finally. My whole life I've been wanting to.
Back.
Get us back to the moon, or I'm wanting to see. So. Ooh, so excited.
So exciting. We also heard some messages from the astronauts.
Yeah.
Their initial reactions.
I selected a few. Let's go with, we have some initial reactions, they said. We'll show those first. And then we got a few different things I want to show you. So let's show that.
Okay. We will continue our journey even further into space before Mother Earth succeeds in pulling us back to everything that we hold dear. But we most importantly choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived.
That's it, right?
That's it. Here's my record for you, by the way. 252,756 miles from the Earth.
Wow, that's how far they are.
That's how far they were. Now at this point they're
A little closer.
Closer.
A little closer.
I don't know the exact spot we're at right now. They were 4,067 miles above the moon's surface, moving at 3,100 miles per hour relative to the moon. So I don't know what that means relative to humans on Earth. I don't know. Relativity is a fun thing. I don't really need to spend an entire episode explaining it because it's frankly too big for my brain, but pretty wild, right? Yeah, so that was like the first thing they said. We had a couple more things that kind of selected. Let's go to the next one. Like, just show off. Which one do you want to select?
The second reaction?
Let's do the second reaction. Yeah. All right. This is to Jared Isaacman, who is the head of NASA, who we have talked to here on KXAN before. I interviewed him 2 years ago before he was the head of NASA. When he was planning a trip to space, and he and I got to talk for a little bit. And so, very nice guy. I had a very good conversation with the guy, probably 20 minutes. And I'm like, this guy is
amazing.
A very kind man who took time out of his day to talk to this little reporter from Austin who wanted to talk about space and science and stuff. So anyway, the Artemis crew was chatting with him, and this is what they said.
Yeah, as Victor said earlier, when we were on the far side of the moon and out of contact with planet Earth, we all knew it, and it was a milestone. We saw Earth disappear, the Earth set. But we were so busy with the science, and we have such faith in our vehicle integrity, such faith in mission control, that we were just at complete peace and just doing our job. And just trying to do a good job to collect as much science data as we could while we were on the far side of the moon. And we were just giddy in here, like of our lives.
He's being a bit humble, but as soon as we went out of comm with planet Earth, we did have maple cookies. As we just gathered together for about 30 seconds, each one of us had a maple cream cookie, and then right back into the science. But we had to take a moment to honor that time going behind Earth, and it was going behind the moon and out of touch with Earth, and that was a very surreal moment for this crew.
That's so funny. I see her trying to bring her hair down, but it goes all the way back
everywhere.
up.
And then you'll hear those little bleeps, by the way, where it sounds like we're cutting. They're not swearing. They're they're sending audio back from the moon. So
it's sketchy.
So when your internet goes down, your Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi went down in the parking lot this morning. So imagine that, but to the moon and Earth. So that's why they're not swearing.
I think it's awesome that we have the capability to send those messages back to us while they're still up there.
There's an old joke.
Amazing.
I'm pretty sure it's like a Louis C.K. joke. Who I know is like a little has some weight to the name these days. There's an old joke where he talked about how people were complaining about their phone going too slow, and he's like, they're sending signals to space and back. And
my Wi-Fi at home is cutting out
to the
constantly.
moon and back. It's okay, calm down, relax. We'll get it there. So anyway, I always think it's funny. A couple things I want to talk about Apollo 8. I took these notes too that I thought were interesting. Aboard the Artemis II, they have an Apollo 8 silk mission patch, which is pretty cool. So that's the little patch that we're on their shoulder. They actually brought a patch on board with them.
Do we have photos of that or no?
I didn't bring any.
So, right?
No. I don't think there's any.
I'll pull up the live source of them in space right now.
They're just chilling, just hanging out. So the mission is on its way back. Okay, so it literally, what time is it right now? 1:38. So less than an hour ago, it moved from the moon's gravity to the Earth's gravity.
Shifting.
Yeah, so it's now being pulled along by the Earth as opposed to pulled along by the moon. Is called a free return lunar trajectory, which means, and it's the same path that Apollo 13 took, which is pretty interesting. It uses gravity to travel around
to launch
the moon,
itself
launch
around.
itself,
right?
Yeah. So when you saw that initial path where it kind of did that little swirl and then out around the Earth, it was using gravity to help send it out. And then as it hits the moon, it kind of uses the same thing to send it back.
Yeah.
So it uses gravity the whole time, which is pretty wild. It's pretty cool what we can do with physics.
So what it needs, the resources that it needs to get from the ground up into the atmosphere, and then from there, gravity takes over.
Right, and it does have thrusters on board and can get little adjustments.
Push.
Yeah, little adjustments to go. Let me see what else I wanted to mention before. I would talk about the president did call them.
Yes.
They had a little chat. Here's a portion of that conversation, just kind of interesting little talk they had. Let's show the president's talk with the Artemis II crew.
I just wanted, it's an honor to speak to you, and I wanted to congratulate each and every one of you. And tell me, what is the most unforgettable part of this really historic day? The whole world is watching and listening. Please tell me.
President, this call is certainly special to all of us, and we really have a lot of faith in our administrator, Jared Isaacman, who is with you. We appreciate his leadership in NASA and in the international community. We are doing great things, and we are proud to be a part of. I have to tell you, as we came around the near side of the moon, seeing all the sights that we've seen from Earth for all of our lives, but we're seeing them from a different perspective, and then we started to get a glimpse of the and we saw sites, Oriental sites that no human has ever seen before, not even in Apollo, and that was amazing for us. And then the surprise of the day, we just came out of an eclipse where the sun, moon, and the entire dark moon, about that big, right out the window that we were watching. We could see the corona of the sun, and then we could see the planet train line up, and at Mars, and all of us commented how excited we are to watch this nation and this planet become a two-planet species.
Very cool. The fact that they're talking to each other as if they were communicating on a cell phone.
Now, I did trim out, I'll tell you this, you saw a little flash of white. I did trim out about 20 seconds of them just listening. It was like dead air.
Yeah.
Because the signal went to the moon and back, so I had to cut that out. But it was only about, it was 20 seconds. You see,
the delay is only 20 seconds?
It was about 20 seconds. It was pretty good. I mean, like,
That's
our
nice.
delay, sometimes when we're out, like,
Is
in
longer than
Fredericksburg, is like 5-6 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's Fredericksburg to here. So imagine it to the moon. That's pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
NASA says there's about 1,000 or so plus images that the team has taken, probably more.
That's crazy.
From this mission alone. I mean, if you're up there and you have
I mean, if
7
they would
hours,
allow you to take your iPhone up there, I'd have way more images on my phone.
They did. I saw something about an iPhone. What
I
was it?
asked you the last
You
time.
and I talked about this. I think someone did take an iPhone.
Like a
with them.
camera?
They'd have like they have like a normal camera.
Uh-huh.
But I think they took like a maybe it was like a specialty.
I thought you said iPhones weren't allowed in space.
They're not allowed in space unless they're like they had to like be kitted out. But I feel like I did see something about it being kitted out. Again, they will shatter.
Yeah.
If you go out, let's talk about the thing. I want to talk about this. So
the last topic.
the last topic, then we're going to get to. I have a timeline. We're going to get to a timeline of the next few days.
Oh.
But before the timeline, let's talk about the toilet situation.
That's what
I
I've
knew
been
you wanted to
waiting
talk
to
about
talk
it.
about.
I went there and like looked for like sound. So we talk about the toilet situation. So we have sound, but I'm going to set it up. So on, I believe it was Friday into Saturday night, disaster strikes. The toilet has a smell. And they're like, what is this smell? There's something going on. So NASA says, don't use the toilet. We have to figure out what's going on with the toilet. It turned out that the urine in the toilet had frozen. And so over the course of
I wonder what that smells like.
I think that's probably the least smelly thing.
Well, they were worried about it.
Well, they were worried, but I think that's the one I'd be less worried. I'd be more worried about
You're right.
number 2.
Yeah, you're right.
So they were told, guys, I'm not going to get graphic. I'm going to use numbers. They were told they could go number 2, but to use the special containers for number 1.
The special bags that they
The
sent
special
them
bags.
out
We
with.
showed you those last week's episode. If you want to go back to last week's episode, you can watch it there. But they have special containers. Like they're like little like almost like gourds.
Gourds?
That's how they look to me, like a gourd almost. Less of a bag, more. I mean, the way it shaped when it filled up.
Yeah.
Anyway, these gourds. So then over the course of the day, they rotated the Orion spacecraft, the Integrity. They rotated it towards the sun and used the sun's heat to
evaporate the number 1?
melt, not evaporate, but melt number 1. And so then they were able to fix things. And around like midnight, Saturday into Sunday, NASA called and was like, all right, the bathroom's a go. You can use the bathroom again.
Isn't that so crazy? They're doing maintenance on the toilets.
You know what?
From Earth up in space.
Humanity, no matter what we do,
It's getting there.
always has to worry about a couple things. It doesn't matter how advanced we get as a species. It doesn't matter if we're on Mars, if we're on Jupiter, if we're at Tau Ceti.
Yeah.
Amaze. We're always going to have to deal
with number
with the
1
toilet.
and number 2.
It's always just going to be, it's just the thing. You know, I watch a weird amount of like toilet doctor talk. Like, Like people explaining like micro gut biomes and stuff. And I just find it fascinating. Again, no matter how far we get as a species, this is a concern we have.
It's always going to be a problem.
Back to space.
But I'm glad that they fixed that.
NASA had a comment on it. I did bring the comment.
What?
Honestly, it's not like the most interesting comment.
Oh, yeah, they do, yeah.
But here is it is. This is like the most jargony way of saying, like, yeah, we melted the pea.
We
so
fixed it.
This is what happened.
And there's nothing about a heater cycling that we can correlate to the smell. There's nothing about the usage of the toilet that would cause an increase in the concentration to cause a more acute smell or a more mild smell. So right now, there isn't any root cause identified as to what that source is, but we're continuing to proceed with the mission and the use of the toilet nominally. There are no liens against use of the toilet. The crew members are able to use the toilet, but we are still trying to figure out the wastewater vent line problem. It's kind of a complex engineering issue when you expose a liquid to vacuum. It's a pretty chaotic environment, and there's a lot of theory and textbook work done when you assume it's pure water being exposed to a vacuum. But when you introduce the variable of it being wastewater, there's other complex phenomena that we don't quite yet understand that are factoring into that vent line.
Out of all things that could have gone wrong during this mission, I did not think PEEP was going to be the problem.
No, I don't think anyone did. But, that's part of exploration, it's discovery.
When he said vacuum, is it sort of like a bathroom on a plane when it vacuums in the...
So he's talking about the vacuum of space.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Like the pressure?
No pressure. Like
no pressure.
There's nothing holding things in. I guess, I don't know if there's an easy way to explain that. It's just it's just the lack of... I've never thought of how to explain this, honestly. The lack of atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So Earth is kind of sealed within a bubble of atmosphere.
Yeah.
And outside of that is nothing. So if there's a leak, things go out there and they spread forever. There's nothing to keep it together, except for gravity, but like nothing keeping air, liquid, stuff like that together.
Yeah.
Bound. So that's, it's like it's a difference between air pressure. It's no air pressure versus air pressure.
Yeah.
So if there's something goes out when it's exposed to the vacuum and all the stuff that goes with the vacuum, the radiation, the cold temperatures,
it all gets vacuumed up.
Well, it just kind of freezes. Or it depends. There's a lot of stuff happens in a vacuum.
Frozen pee-pee.
Frozen pee-pee. Yes, we did it. We're both professionals.
Well,
we didn't laugh that much in this story. I know. Actually, what's funny? Okay, I'll let the audience know. You came to me like 3 days ago and was like, "Did you hear about the bathroom?"
And you didn't hear about it.
I didn't hear about it. I had a busy weekend. I was looking forward to Monday. I wasn't worried about the bathroom situation.
I was keeping up with the bathroom situation.
You were keeping up with the bathroom situation. I've already dealt with enough. Never mind.
So what's the rest of the timeline?
Okay. So today, Tuesday, April 7th. Mm-hmm. If you're watching this later, we're filming this on Tuesday, April 7th. So they exited lunar sphere of influence. This is where lunar gravity. They exited that at 1:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so about midday Central Time. So it's about 1:48 Central Time right now. So about an hour ago, they left lunar gravity, and they're heading back towards Earth. They are now in the Earth's gravity well. So it's being pulled by the Earth towards the Earth. They'll be doing some checks, thermal protection check. They're going to check some navigation systems that occurred. Make sure the navigation that occurred during the communication blackout that occurred when the capsule was on the far side of the moon. Make sure everything's still working now that it's returned. Mm-hmm. They're going to check some radiation sensor data that they got from the far side of the moon. It's important to see how much radiation's out there further away from Earth. That's not for today. That's for 10 years from now when we go to Mars.
10 years from now?
Or whenever. I'm thinking at least 10 before
Don't give me
before
fake timelines.
I think it's about 10 at the earliest. We could actually go right now if we really wanted to, but it's complicated. Anyway, the crew gets to relax now. I looked through. It's funny if you look through their schedule, which is online, by the way. You can just Google NASA Artemis II schedule. Yeah, timeline. I looked through it, and it's broken down by blocks, which is kind of fun. It's like busy, and then today it's like
free.
Yeah, it's like TV time, PT. I'm not joking. Rest, eat. That's like all that's on the schedule.
Wow. Must be nice. Get there, do all the work at once, and then on your way back.
Just go relax. For days and days and days and weeks, really, because they got delayed so long. Mm-hmm. And then they get to relax and just enjoy space travel for a little bit. They're gonna be down. They're gonna be sending some flight observations and photos, like we showed you those earlier. Those new photos that came through.
This is a live stream that NASA's giving us. So
yeah, they're live. The live stream's good. They're doing a medical check-in today, and they're doing the rest. Then tomorrow, part of the Deep Space Return cruise. The way I put this together, like it's an itinerary, it cracks me up. Like
he just copied their schedule and put it on a paper.
Oh yeah, I took some notes and put it together, and I used Copilot to help me organize it a bit. Kind of bullet pointed in a way that it's actually readable. They're going to do a trajectory correction burn. What that means is like they're aiming for the Pacific Oceans where they want to splash down, right?
Yeah.
So they're just doing some minor little adjustments.
Wait, so they're landing in the water?
Yes. We'll get to that.
With the astronauts?
We'll get to that. So it's minor adjustments to make sure it gets to the right spot. So little tweaks here and there. It's, you fire an arrow, I don't know. The further distances, you get to make minor tweaks. And the minor tweak can put you off by a lot, so you need to make sure everything's in the right spot. They're going to check some life support performances on the mission. They're going to begin the cabin air revitalization, so like a cleanup and also like a repressurization. They're going to start doing some water recycling and water with their water systems. They're basically like prepping the house
to land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to check on some antennas, see how they worked and how they evaluated the antenna signals that they were sending. It's basically making sure it's this whole day tomorrow is going to be like, can these crews be good? Can these ships do long distance journeys? Like that's kind of like that's the next step. Then on Thursday, re-entry preps. So this is when they're going to start getting things ready. They're going to put the seats in the right positions for re-entry. So they've moved them. Now they're going to be put in the right positions. They're going to tie down all the loose equipment, like that Nutella jar I mentioned earlier that was just floating around. They're going to pull that stuff up. Did you saw Project Hail Mary?
Yes, I did.
When the gravity turned on and everything fell. Yeah.
Imagine being under all that stuff that falls.
Making sure the stuff doesn't fall.
No, thank you.
Putting everything back where it's supposed to be, and they're going to move from their kind of late in the day, I would assume, launch, and they're going to put back in their launch and reentry suits back on. So back in out of their comfy pajamas into the suits we talked about. Was that last week or the week before?
The week before.
Week before the suits. They're also going to do some heat shield and avionics checks. They're going to make sure the thermal protection's working fine. Guidance, navigation, everything, all the systems are working. Everything needs to be up and going.
All the checks, all the puts away, all the making sure everything's back to normal is going to be happening soon. Splashdown
isn't super early in the day on Friday. It's like midday. But
don't they have like a window?
It's a window. It wasn't like, I was looking at the schedule, and I'm not sure if it was UTC, Universal Time, or
Central.
Eastern time. I think it'd be Eastern because of NASA. It didn't say on the calendar.
It's in California, right? So
yeah, but I'm basing this off of, if you want to know where my brain's at, on the calendar for today, it said the switch over from lunar to Earth happened around, it was like the middle point of the calendar.
Okay.
So the middle point of the calendar was the exact same spot, roughly, was where the touchdown was supposed to be, so around midday.
Nice. On
Friday. So I'm basing this based on how the schedule looks. I'm not, and I did look to see if it said Eastern or Central. It didn't. If it did, I didn't understand it. So, I mean, it was just, it's all in NASA speak, guys.
They have their own language.
It is. It's like a lot of jargon on that chart. I'm surprised I parsed out as much as I did, to be perfectly honest. Okay, so Friday, splashdown, right? We're aiming for midday splashdown. Orion's going to fire its engines as it slows itself down and goes, or not slow, it can kind of make sure it's in the right spot. Because it's not going to slow from the engines, because it's going to re-enter at 25,000 miles per hour.
Re-enter Earth?
Yes.
Jeez.
So it turns its back, it has a heat shield, big shield on the bottom. So it turns that towards the Earth, and that's going to re-enter. 25,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
The temperature of that heat shield is going to be about 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
And that's why it needs to land in the water.
No.
No?
The reason we land in the water is it's all about what target do you want to aim for.
The fish?
Don't worry about the fish. The biggest, shark. It's like a big open space. It's relatively safe that if you hit it, I mean, it can be hit, like if you hit it the wrong speed, it will, it is like a brick wall. But you can kind of disrupt it and float stuff. I mean, the water is just like, it's a bigger target to aim for.
So if any trash falls off this
Like
cracked.
if you're aiming for the desert in Arizona, you could miss and hit Phoenix. You know, you don't want to aim where places where there's people. In Russia, they aim for the middle of a desert, like the middle of the desert. Like,
but who
nothing
cares
around.
about the fish, right?
Kazakhstan, I think, is where they aim for. You're right. Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a few fish. It's not like they're not wiping out the ocean. It's a very small capsule, but it's just it is for safety reasons. They aim for like the biggest space where they don't threaten other things.
Yeah.
And if there's an emergency, they can bail out a little easier. And it's,
In the water?
yeah, and it's easier to get to because if you're on land and you land, you might have to drive to a location, whereas a boat, and you have to go through the terrain. A boat
just go straight through.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good reasons to aim for water. The spot they're aiming for, okay, so the parachutes will deploy. Big parachutes, huge parachutes.
Wait, how do they deploy?
A lot more awkward when you realize this is live as opposed to our pre-taped stuff, where you can edit out some of my foolishness. It'll slow down to about 20 miles per hour as these parachutes. These are big parachutes.
Yeah.
Huge parachutes.
Well, they have to carry a big spacecraft.
It's not that big, but it's about the speed. You have to slow down a lot. I mean, it's big. It's like the size of a room.
Is it the size of this room?
Not too far off, actually. A little bigger than this room. A little bigger than this room, but not that. And you know, not whatever shape this room is. It's just a square. Sometimes it feels like it's not a square. I don't know. It feels like it's like a pentagon or something. See, this is the insanity you miss every week with this not being live. This being pre-taped. It's going to land west of Baja California or Southern California. So somewhere like, you know, the Baja California Peninsula, somewhere between there and Southern California. So again, much bigger target to land at. The Navy will come out to pick it up. Crew will be extracted and flown to shore. Immediately when they're picked up, they will go through medical tests to make sure they are fine.
Healthy, yeah.
Again, they were further out than any human's ever been, so we will be testing to see how much radiation they got.
And you mentioned last week that there is this little chip that's tracking their health.
Yes, we talked about that. I got to interview NASA last week. Good memory. Called Avatar, and that's a chip that's on board the ship. And it's a copy of their bone marrow, and it's being used to analyze all sorts of medical data.
I'm excited for that episode we do when we're analyzing the way
get some
that
recovery,
their
see what they learned. You know, I'm hoping it's pretty quick. I think they're going to accelerate things because NASA has 2 more missions planned next year, so they probably want to get things going.
And they want to know how it went.
Yeah.
What to do differently.
In the following months after this week, engineering analysis. How did Orion do? How did it perform? What are we going to do about these bathrooms? That'll be something they change, I would assume.
Yeah.
They'll do formal certifications for Artemis II. They're going to do, take all that data we talked about. They're going to analyze all that, check all the hardware they learned, everything we've learned from this mission since Apollo, and we're going to update all of it. And then we're going to prep for Artemis III early next year, and then Artemis IV later next year, and Artemis IV lands on the moon.
And then Mars in 10 years.
Something like that. I don't think, they say it's quicker, but I think it was like 2 years ago. They said it was going to be by the end of the decade, and that hasn't happened.
No, I don't think so.
I think it'll be about 10 years. I think it'll be around 2030 something.
Interesting. Not too far away.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be, I think that's the goal, 2030s. I think it'll be like 2035, 2036, the earliest. Maybe closer to 2040. Fingers crossed. I'd like to see that sooner. I think.
Yeah. Me too.
It'd just be so cool. There it is.
Well, this is this live feed of them.
Isn't that beautiful?
On their way back.
I mean, that's animation. That's a visualization.
Wait, it's not real?
No, they don't have a camera out there. That's just a cartoon.
I'm like, why is it not moving?
Yeah, right.
It's still.
Just hanging out. But it is very pretty.
It is very pretty. Well,
Show us those moon photos one more time.
Okay.
I want to see those moon photos again. And when we talked about these, look at these things.
These are real photos.
Those are real photos. Sent back today. Today, that eclipse.
And that is us.
That eclipse, I think, was late last night, but a couple of these, like that one, I think, was this morning. I think it had like a 2-hour mark from AP.
We thought we were cool because we witnessed a total lunar or solar eclipse here.
Yeah.
But I mean,
this is a pretty good journey.
I think this beats the cake.
Yeah.
It's the cake.
When I ahead of that eclipse, I was talking to people about ahead of the solar eclipse. All these experts. I talked to these, eclipse hunters around the world, and one of them told me that he led expeditions to Antarctica, and they went to Antarctica, and they got there, and clouds came and covered up everything.
Wow.
So those people traveled that far to see an eclipse. These people traveled to the moon to see an eclipse.
And they actually saw the full thing.
No clouds in the sky for this one. Pretty cool.
And they got pictures of
Look
it.
at those craters. Look at that beauty. I know we look at it and it's just this desolate rock, but it's a desolate rock of dreams of impossibilities. And it's, you know, so
and
much
it controls our oceans, right?
controls our oceans, controls a great deal about us that we don't even think about.
Yeah.
It's a part of us in ways we don't think about. And now we're one step closer to, you know, setting the feet on it and like really spreading our wings out that far and just kind of exploring. And we have to keep pushing ourselves. And we hope that, you know, it's not just this generation that's doing it. You know, people like me in the 90s were like, let's keep going. And some people were much smarter than me and went to work for NASA. But I have a hard time with math. So
you're still doing some space news.
I'm doing my part, spreading the word. That's kind of how I see it.
Well, thank you so much for giving us this in-depth recap of how Artemis II is doing up in our solar system.
Yes.
It's on our way back. So
on our way back.
When does it land?
Friday at midday. Friday at midday.
This Friday.
This Friday at midday. Will you be watching?
I will be watching. And next week, we will be recapping right here on KXAN+.
Oh, no. Next week, no episode for us.
What?
Well, yeah, I'm out of town.
You're out of town the week that Artemis II gets back?
Well, I'll be here.
I don't know.
I will be here when it lands. Then I hop on a plane, and then I'll be back, next week, though.
Yeah.
But
with a tan.
The following week, probably a little bit of a tan. The following week, we will talk about some fun stuff.
Okay. So
like we'll do more recap. We'll see what we've learned. Also, that gives us 2 weeks to learn what we've learned.
And maybe we'll have more of that medical history back.
I hope so. I hope we get a good data dump.
I hope
excited. A lot of data.
If you're excited for a data dump, tune in here on the Space Base in 2 weeks. We'll have a new episode for you.
Cool. See you then.
Eric, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.